Ohio State, Texas, Cotton Bowl. Ohio State is a 6-point favorite. The over-under is 53.5. Dylan, you've alluded to it a little bit earlier on in this show that you think it's going to be an all Big Ten title game. Ohio State fans are at your neck right now, demanding responses, and this guy's a clown and everything. Meanwhile, you're rooting for Ohio State to win a national title.
They're mad at me for what? What are you mad at me for? Because I think your team was going to lose a game? Because we embarrassed you guys for the 5th year in a row, 4th year? Like, is that why you're mad at me? Now listen, this is a huge game, and if you follow Karter Cast at all, you know this Texas team, I've kind of been like, oh, have they won a big game? Connor, we had a conversation. Does Arizona State count as finally passing a test? You lose to Georgia twice, even though the SEC championship, we could argue, I mean, Texas outplayed Georgia, even though they lost.
Yep.
This is interesting because I know what is going to happen. I know how this game is going to go. I've seen it the last 2 weeks. I can't do the bit. I can't be dishonest with the Karter Cast listeners. This is all Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State is going to blow this Texas team out. I did position groups here, and I don't even think there's much to argue about. I have quarterback Ohio State.
Especially lately. Will Howard has been dealing lately.
Especially since the Michigan game, kind of knocked some sense into him. Running back Ohio State.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wide receiver Ohio State.
Yep.
Without a doubt.
Offensive line, I said Texas.
Yep.
Defensive line, I said Texas.
Yep.
The middle of that defensive line is pretty good. And secondary, close, I said Texas.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could go one. I mean, I feel like we see the top 3 secondaries in college football right now with Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas right now.
Yes, and maybe that's the secret to making it far in the playoffs. On paper, I mean, Ohio State is just miles better. You look at Texas's offensive success, and for a playoff team, the numbers aren't that great. 34th overall, 40th in pass success, 42nd in rush success. And you compare that to Ohio State's defensive success numbers, 4th in defensive pass success rate allowed, 1st overall, 20th in rush. And offensively, this Ohio State team has looked completely different since the weekend after Thanksgiving. They expose a Tennessee defense that we all thought was a top-tier defense, and they go and blow out Oregon. And we could talk about Oregon's defense. I don't think anybody's going to say the defense was the strength of that unit.
No.
But offensively, things were clicking. Their defense looked great. Ohio State's did. I think this is Ohio State here. Ohio State minus the 6. 5-star Mega Max Ryan Day Supreme Court contract play of the year. Ohio State minus 6.
Does that hurt you a little bit to say?
No, listen.
No. Okay.
I pride myself on being correct, right? And all the haters be like, oh, this guy's an idiot. This guy. Listen, I've been wrong about Ohio State so many times this year. I'm done being wrong about them. Like this is it. Ohio State, they exposed this Texas team. I'm sorry, Nash. I wanted to be on your guys' side, but Ohio State wins big here. And what did I say? 5-star Mega Max Supreme Court Justice Ryan Day contract play of the year. Put it on a quote card. Hey, now, and you Texas fans that are watching, Nash, Lacey, Cody, Ghost of Texas past.
Man,
you agree, Connor, don't you?
Yeah, this is going to be the college game day graphic. You look at Quinn Ewers since his injury earlier this year. It almost seems like his pocket awareness has gotten worse. It's like, I don't feel confident in him to make a big-time throw anymore. And yes, the end of the Arizona State game, the end of regulation, and a couple drives in overtime, he looked great. He made big throws. I am not going to argue there. He looked awesome in those drives. It was against Arizona State's defense that had been on the field for, 40 minutes already? Like, the Ohio State defense is a step up big time from Arizona State. And this Ohio State team hasn't allowed more than 21 points since the Oregon loss in mid-October. They have been great. So I don't even think it's going to be close. Ohio State has 12 sacks in their 2 college football playoff games. Oregon running backs had 15 rushes for 21 yards. Yeah, they were trailing. But I don't see how Texas has any success here. It's going to come down to when Travion Wisner, he had 2.5 yards of carry last week. If the Texas run game can't get it going, which I don't think they will, Quinn Ewers has to throw the ball 45 times. And I'm on record on here saying that doesn't make me feel good. I don't want Quinn Ewers throwing 45 times against Ohio State. I think this is Ohio State big. I think they cover the 6. There's a reason this line shot up from 3.5 to 6 in 12 hours.
So I want to make a comment there real quick and ask a question. Number one, it pains me to say it. Jack Sawyer is going to have a day because the right side of this Texas offensive line is the weakest side of this line. And, maybe Jack Sawyer can go instigate some fights or something in the middle of the game. I don't know. But is there any concern? You talked about the sacks that Ohio State has had so far in the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is probably the best offensive line they're going to face, I would think. Is there any concern there?
I don't think they're going to have 6 sacks against Texas. Now, it's not going to be the same as the first 2 games they've played in the playoffs so far, but I do think they can get pressure on Quinn Ewers. And like I said, Quinn Ewers in the pocket, I think, has regressed as the year's gone on. So if he feels a little pressure, I'm not going to be shocked if he throws a couple picks. Or at least bad passes, like turnover-worthy plays, as some would say.
The other thing is,
some would say,
Will Howard we said it before, he's been so good in these 2 games. It's been astonishing. This isn't the same player. Michigan might have knocked some sense into him because Tennessee has a legitimate good defense. And Oregon, I think their defense is not great or anything. It's a solid defense or whatever. He made them look silly, Dylan.
He did, and that's you kind of have to wonder what happened. What happened against Michigan that kind of made him turn this corner? Now, can I ask a serious question? We do the Michigan bit, whatever. Is there any concern? I'm not an X's and O's guy. I'll be the first to say it. I never played football. I'm just a fan. I like stats.
What?
Is there anything that could – the performance against Michigan, does that worry you at all that could show back up? Or is that just an anomaly?
I feel like the performance against Michigan, I got to give a lot of blame to coaching and how they called the plays in that game and a refusal to throw the ball because they had success throwing the ball on Michigan. They did. And since that game, I think Ryan Day and Ohio State have kind of remembered they have the best receiver in college football. They've been going to Jeremiah Smith early and often, and I don't think they're going to stray away from that this game.
But, okay.
They were throwing on Michigan. We were texting in the group chat. We were like, second half, they're going to throw everywhere, and let's live bet Ohio State. And they didn't do it.
They had more pass attempts against Michigan than they did Tennessee. So to say it's a game plan thing, it's like,
okay,
well...
I mean, yeah, but... Yeah.
I'm just curious. Seriously, just curious. Because I understand we can say, I make jokes about, it's Michigan, it's the team Ryan Day can't beat. But there has to be maybe some thought of, well, what if that shows up again? Like, what if they can't get the run game going? That's not crazy to say. That's happened before for Ohio State. But all that to play devil's advocate, it's Ohio State big here. I'm talking maybe 28 points.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be close because Quinn Ewers has thrown over 40 times twice this year, both against Georgia, 46 and 43 times, and we saw how both those games went. I think this is another one of those games. They're going to go down early, and he's going to be forcing things. I don't know, guys. Plus, Arizona State was missing Jordan Tyson, their best receiver. I think Jeremiah Smith has a day. I really do. I think he has another day.
This game solely comes down to, for me, well, there's multiple things, but I think coaching's fairly equal in this spot. Sark, like I've mentioned every single time we talk about Texas, he gets too cute in big spots. But it comes down to, can Quinn Ewers make the throws? These dudes are open. These guys, the deep ball is there constantly for Texas, and Quinn Ewers just hasn't been able to make that throw, which is so interesting because that's his strength. When you think about Quinn Ewers, it's like, oh man, he throws one of the prettiest deep balls, and that's just gone now, apparently. Apparently, Quinn Ewers just cannot throw the ball past 10, 15 yards anymore. It's tough to see a path for Texas right here. I mean, if Wisner can get going on the ground and open up the play action for Quinn Ewers, but do either of you trust Quinn Ewers to make the big throws on 3rd and 8 and these big spots in these games? He did it against Arizona State at the very end, but what happened in the first 3 quarters? Because if you mess around and screw around in the first 3 quarters against Ohio State, you're going to end up looking like Oregon, where you go, we're down 42-14 right now. What's happening?
But let's not forget Ohio State has also, they have not started games on the right foot before. I think Nebraska.
Yeah, but I think that's fair. But in the college football playoffs, ever since that Michigan game, they're starting games the right way.
You're so right, Karter. Yeah, I've always said you know the most ball in this show.
Shut up.
No, I think that's pretty valid. I mean, if it really comes down to it, we trust in Bert Auburn pressure kick. We saw it against Arizona State.
But
You
do we trust Fielding?
Well,
Dude,
fair.
that dude can't make a kick to save his life either.
Fair. That's fair. I don't know. I think you're right, Karter. When it comes to obvious passing downs, I don't know if I feel that confident on Quinn Ewers making a big play on a 3rd and 8 with, Jack Sawyer, whoever running down his throat, Cody Simon.
I think Texas's defense can get to Will Howard in this game, though, and that's going to be.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have success getting to him, and I don't think Will Howard's going to have the same success we've seen against Texas and Oregon. I actually think Texas stays within the number. I don't think Texas wins. I think Ohio State wins, but I think Texas stays within the number in this one. I'm going Ohio State 31, Texas 27.
Go Connor next.
This is tough. What's the total? 54 now? It's up to 54. I'm going to go Ohio State 31, Texas 20.
You like the under?
Yeah. I think there might be a couple turnovers. Maybe in crucial spots.
I actually like the over in this game.
Really? No, I like the under. 54 is a lot of points.
I don't think either set of running backs are going to have a lot of success, and it's going to be having to air it out in this game.
First half under, then.
Ohio State 45, Texas 17. It's going to be bad.
You think Ohio State puts up 45 points in this game?
Yeah. It's going to be bad. No. Completely different team. Completely different team since the Michigan game. And then we'll have our Big Ten National Championship.
No, he won't.
Ryan Day, baby.
No, he won't.
Ryan Day. #1 coach in the nation.